The renowned Stoic thinker Epictetus once articulated, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." You might be familiar with the adage, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." In this session, we'll delve into this concept from a Stoic perspective. Our focus will be on identifying the 7 types of individuals who might impede your journey in Stoic philosophy and strategies for managing these complex interactions. Before diving in, I'd be grateful if you could like the video to aid in disseminating Stoic teachings. If you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest doing so and hitting the notification bell to ensure you don't miss any of our videos. Type number 1, the habitual griever. It's likely we each know someone, a relative, colleague, or friend, who has a talent for spotting flaws in virtually everything. Be it the state of the weather, their job, or the cuisine at a well-known eatery, they invariably seize the chance to air their grievances. You might think, what's the big deal? I can just tune them out. However, this is easier said than done. Continual exposure to such pessimism can steadily sap your mental energy, similar to a dripping tap slowly draining a water tank. Stoicism urges us to seek practical solutions rather than linger on issues. Consider, for instance, being part of a team with a constant griever. Each gathering morphs into a draining bout of grumbling, lacking any productive exchange. The result? A decline in team spirit, distraction from finding viable solutions, and a growing sense of disillusionment with the task at hand, perhaps even affecting your overall outlook on life. So, what Stoic methods can we apply to handle a habitual complainer? A few tactics are at your disposal. First, try to minimize your interactions with this person when possible. If avoidance is impractical, maybe due to them being a family member or work associate, then mentally detach yourself during their ranting. Envision their gripes as a fleeting tempest, loud and disturbing but ultimately short-lived and ineffectual against the steadfast mountain of your internal calm. Another approach is to redirect the conversation towards problem-solving or shift it to a more positive topic. Echoing the words of Marcus Aurelius, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This enduring Stoic insight inspires us to zealously protect our mental serenity, ensuring that the constant negativity of complainers does not sway us from our Stoic journey towards resilience and ethical integrity. Type number 2, the crisis conductor. Picture yourself as the captain of a vessel, smoothly sailing through serene seas. Then you encounter a phenomenon akin to a whirlpool, the crisis conductor. This person appears to be a magnet for endless emergencies, disagreements, or scandals. Much like a whirlpool, they possess a disconcerting knack for pulling others into their tumultuous realm. Initially, you might be drawn to this individual's vibrant presence, mistaking it for enthusiasm or liveliness. However, it soon becomes apparent that being in their orbit is as treacherous and draining as steering a ship through a tempest. The challenge with crisis conductors lies in the fact that their emergencies often feel like they're your own. Their turmoil is contagious. You may even discover yourself caught up in disputes you had no part in initiating. Consider this scenario. A friend of yours consistently has falling outs with other members of your social group. One day it's Amy, the next day, George. They seek your counsel, yet you observe this repetitive cycle. Before you know it, you're also embroiled in issues with Amy or George due to your intervention. In such situations, a technique known as reflective listening can be invaluable. Rather than dispensing advice or picking sides, simply echo their sentiments back to them. For instance, if they express, "I can't believe what Amy said about me," you could respond with, "It seems like you feel betrayed by what Amy mentioned. This method helps you offer emotional support while steering clear of the drama. Another strategy, somewhat counterintuitive, is to practice selective unavailability. Stoicism teaches us to cherish our time, and occasionally that entails being inaccessible during others' continuous crises. Establish periods when you're focused solely on your tasks or self-improvement and communicate that you're not to be disturbed during these times. Echoing Seneca's thoughts, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. This outlook is especially beneficial when handling crisis conductors. Instead of fretting over the next impending crisis, focus on the current moment, where you have dominion. Cherish your existence without allowing it to be disrupted by another's chaos. Strive to navigate your life's journey smoothly, consciously avoiding the whirlpools that might hinder your path to personal advancement and peace. Type number 3, the pessimist. Envision yourself as a painter artistically crafting a canvas. Each of your brush strokes brings depth, vibrancy, and expression to your creation. Then, the pessimist enters. They observe your artwork and instantly launch into criticism. Is that the right shade? That doesn't seem lifelike. You do know that many artists don't succeed, don't you? Their remarks cast a shadow over your colorful artwork, akin to splashes of gray on a radiant painting. This isn't the beneficial type of criticism that fosters growth. It's an ongoing cloud of skepticism and negativity. Imagine, for instance, you're thrilled about a new professional venture. You've thoroughly researched, consulted experts, and perhaps taken initial courses. However, when you express your excitement to the pessimist, they bombard you with reasons it's doomed to fail. It's a saturated market. Are your skills adequate? What if you fail? Gradually, their doubts start to overshadow your confidence, and your previously steady vision begins to falter. So, how do you manage a pessimist, particularly if they're someone close? An unconventional yet practical approach is to solicit their guidance instead of merely divulging your plans or dreams. Placing people in a consultative role often makes them less prone to outright criticism and more likely to offer productive feedback. Another tactic is to reverse the dynamic through a method called positive confrontation. Rather than accepting their pessimism, prompt them to propose solutions. If they remark, "Switching careers now is impossible," retort with, "That's an interesting viewpoint. In your opinion, how might someone successfully transition careers?" This not only counters the negativity, but also fosters a more fruitful dialogue. Reflect on the saying by Stoic thinker Epictetus, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Listening isn't synonymous with taking in all forms of pessimism. It involves distinguishing between meaningful advice and mere pessimism. When pessimists attempt to overshadow your vision with their doubts, step back, listen, ponder, and persist in painting your life with the hues that resonate with you. Refuse to let anyone transform your vibrant tapestry into a monochrome of despondency. Type number 4, the perpetual martyr. Visualize life as a chess match. Each participant has identical pieces and a common objective: to checkmate the adversary's king. You apply strategy, endure some losses, and embrace risks. The perpetual martyr, on the other hand, blames the chessboard, the pieces, or the opponent for every misstep. They view themselves as constantly besieged, attributing their predicament not to their own decisions, but to external forces conspiring against them. Their story is an endless saga of misfortune, in which they portray themselves as the eternally aggrieved party. Phrases like, "I can't advance in my job because my boss is biased against me," or "I can't get fit due to poor genetics," are common in their lexicon. It's important to acknowledge that some individuals do face real challenges and systemic barriers. However, the type of victim we're referring to consistently utilizes their plight as a crutch, shunning any personal accountability for their situation or inaction. Involvement in their narrative can inadvertently cast you in the role of the rescuer. Consider the hours you might have spent listening to a friend who attributes their successive failed relationships solely to their exes. This not only drains your time, but could subtly lead you to adopt a similar mindset of victimhood in your own circumstances. When interacting with a perpetual martyr, the urge to play the hero, providing ceaseless counsel and support, can be strong. However, Stoic philosophy advises a different approach. They suggest establishing clear boundaries for your own mental well-being. Adopting an approach of compassionate detachment can be effective. Demonstrate understanding and kindness, but refrain from attempting to solve their issues for them. Be a supportive listener, but avoid becoming their constant solver of problems. As Marcus Aurelius profoundly stated, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." If you find yourself drawn into the martyr's story, resist the temptation to mirror their behavior. Assert control over your own life's chessboard. Make your strategic plays, and remember that in life's game of chess, being stuck in checkmate is often a self-imposed condition, not an inevitability. Propel your pieces forward with strategy and sacrifice when needed, and play not for retribution or sympathy, but for personal evolution and insight. Type number 5, the overzealous optimist. You're likely familiar with this individual. They radiate an unceasing glow of positivity, adorned with vibrant smiles and an avalanche of emojis. They are the ones who, in your moments of struggle, offer the simplistic advice to just be happy, inadvertently trivializing your emotions and experiences with their overly bright outlook. Picture your life as a botanical space. It has its share of blossoms, but also weeds and pests. The overzealous optimist insists on overlooking anything that isn't a flourishing flower. Confronted with pests in your foliage, their mantra would be, focus only on the blossoms. Keep negativity out of your garden. As well-meaning as it sounds, this attitude can lead to feelings of invalidation and a disconnection from the realities of life. Consider experiencing a painful breakup. You're enveloped in sadness, confusion, seeking some semblance of emotional equilibrium. The overzealous optimist's counsel? There are more fish in the sea, just put on a smile and be joyful. This kind of relentless positivity disregards the complexity of human emotions and the tangible difficulties of life's journey. How do you tend to your garden without allowing the overzealous optimists to trample it under their indiscriminate scattering of good vibes only? One approach is to engage them in a dialogue that acknowledges both the positives and the negatives. If they comment, "Just look at the bright side. You still have your health," you might respond, "Indeed, I'm thankful for my health, but it's also valid for me to feel distressed about this particular issue. Both feelings can coexist." Utilizing what psychologists term as emotional granularity, the capacity to recognize and distinguish a broad spectrum of emotions, both joyful and sorrowful, can also be beneficial. When faced with the overzealous optimists urging to simply be happy, take a moment to recognize and name your complex emotions. Asserting, "Today, I feel melancholic because of X, and that's completely fine," can be an empowering statement. Reflecting on Seneca's words, "True happiness is to understand our duties toward God and man, to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Notice the equilibrium, acknowledging responsibilities, which aren't always pleasant, alongside enjoying the present. Stoicism isn't about focusing exclusively on the positive or the negative. It's about accepting life's intricacies with balance. So, when the overzealous optimist showers their confetti over your carefully cultivated garden, Step back and remember, a garden thrives with both sun and rain. Embrace the full range of your emotions and continue to nurture your garden with the diversity and depth it truly needs. Type number 6, the schemer. Imagine your existence as a screenplay in which you're the protagonist, with a clear vision of your narrative's trajectory, allies, and the climax. Then comes the schemer, akin to a clandestine screenwriter who stealthily alters your script, leading you astray from your intended plot. This individual excels in emotional and psychological tactics. They adeptly use flattery, guilt-tripping, or deceit to nudge you towards paths that serve their interests. Picture a scenario where a friend routinely persuades you to foot the bill with remarks like, "I'm going through tough times, and you're so prosperous. It's trivial for you, but means a lot to me." Gradually, you realize your kindness is being exploited, yet confronting them becomes challenging since they've framed it as aiding a friend in distress. Dealing with a schemer requires careful strategy. One effective technique is known as fogging. This involves acknowledging any truth in their assertions while remaining impervious to their emotional manipulation. For instance, if they comment, "Given your success, you should pay for our meal," you could reply, "It's true that I'm financially stable, but we should continue splitting the bill as usual." Establishing and enforcing clear boundaries is another vital approach. If the schemer seeks financial help or asks you to undertake tasks you're uneasy with, practice assertive refusal. Keep your demeanor calm and your language explicit. Saying, "I can't offer financial help, but I'm here for emotional support," delineates a boundary while preserving the relationship. Reflecting on Stoic principles, as Epictetus advised, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Schemers thrive on exploiting your typical responses. They manipulate your generosity, guilt, or need for approval. By altering your reaction, you reclaim control of your narrative. If a schemer is present in your life, remember that you are the scriptwriter. Your story is yours to craft, and while it may feature various characters, the central journey, yours, should always be directed by your personal values and choices. Reassert ownership of your story and prevent anyone from distorting the plot of your life. Type number 7, the chronophage. Visualize your everyday life as an intricately arranged orchestral piece. Every instrument symbolizes an activity or obligation, blending to produce a melodious equilibrium. However, the chronophage enters the scene, hitting discordant notes, overshadowing your tune, and transforming your harmonious arrangement into a jarring cacophony. The chronophage isn't inherently malevolent. They often appear quite harmless. It might be a workmate who persistently distracts you with minor queries, fragmenting your otherwise productive day. Or perhaps a friend who incessantly invites you to social gatherings that don't interest you, compelling you to attend and depleting your time and vitality. These interactions may seem minor individually, but collectively, they significantly disrupt your routine. How do you safeguard your orchestral arrangement from the disruption of a chronophage? The Pomodoro Technique, a time management practice dividing your work into set intervals, typically 25 minutes, with brief intermissions, is a potent tool. During these intervals, you establish a clear do not disturb rule, thereby guarding your most effective periods from being gradually eroded. When faced with a socially demanding chronophage, it's crucial to recognize that declining invitations is not just permissible, it's vital for your mental health. A straightforward, "Thanks for the invite, but I won't be able to join," is adequate. Turning down an invitation isn't a personal slight, it's a validation of your own requirements and priorities. Reflecting Seneca's wisdom, life, if well lived, is long enough. Stoic philosophy underscores that time is an invaluable asset, deserving of judicious allocation. It's the backdrop against which the portrait of our existence is drawn, and we ought to be discerning about what merits our attention. In the grand orchestration of your life, ensure that each note, instrument, and melody resonates with your overarching aspirations. Resist allowing the dissonant interruptions of a chronophage to distort your symphony. Firmly wield the conductor's baton, orchestrating your existence with intent, making certain that each instant contributes to the beautiful symphony that is your life. As we conclude today's journey through the various personalities that might impede our progress in Stoic philosophy, it's crucial to emphasize the importance of self-reflection. It's relatively simple to spot these traits in others, but the true challenge and source of insight lies in introspecting. Could it be that you, perhaps unknowingly, embody one of these roles in another's narrative? Remember, the essence of Stoicism extends beyond merely maneuvering through external circumstances. It encompasses a deep understanding and betterment of oneself. If this conversation has ignited a moment of revelation, an awakening, or even a hint of self-examination, I eagerly await your input in the comments. Share your insights, narrate your journeys, and let's foster a discourse that enhances our collective growth. Until our next encounter, may your decisions be in harmony with your virtues, your deeds mirror your sagacity, and may your existence evolve into the magnum opus it is destined to be. Embrace Stoicism. I wish you a good life.